Hi, this is Ofelia Madriga, and today we're going to be talking about, I'm going to be sharing a little bit of my understanding of five of the most influential models of how family operates. And it goes as follows. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about homeostasis. And it is homeostasis is barely described. It's actually created by Betson and his colleagues. They hypothesize that the family stability is achieved by feedback that regulates the behavior of family and its member or the ecosystem. Whenever the family system is treated, it endeavors to maintain a stability. Per se, if they feel or they see the family as in danger, what they do is they within the system they manage a way to find balance and create that state in which they create homeostasis. An example that I did share is, for example, when there is a couple having an argument, usually within this family, it can happen either or it can be the within the couple or it can be one of the childs that it happens to be that they are very comic or they are fun. So if they see a family arguing in the table, they usually come up with jokes or they have something funny to say so they can break up, that hostile environment. And usually happen, as I said, either created by a child or among the couple. Another model that I would like to share is the cybernetics. Cybernetics, I um, personally feel very passionate about, and I'll share about a book that I read a few years ago, and I will definitely would like to share. And cybernetics is designed by Norbert Wiener, and he's perhaps one of the most influential. This perhaps might be one of the most influential models to help families and to understand how they operate. The study of feedback of this mechanism is self-regulated system. So just imagine cyber, how cybernetics works. It is a mechanism that is subconsciously integrated to also be able to find homeostasis within the family. But many times we don't we operate on a daily basis without being conscious about it. So this system is in the family, is integrated without we knowing it. Sometimes if you become aware of the system, it's great because now you have more kind of like the ability or the tendency to maintain stability by using this information and how it operates. For example, in many cases, we see that the behavior persists over time. So if this behavior has been persistent over time, then we can see that there is a likelihood that this mechanism could be or has the potential to continue to maintain that behavior. So if whatever I'm doing, whatever I am um, creating on a daily basis, kind of like the habit, you are the reflection of your habits, right? So you want to change something within you, you have to change those habits. So that mechanism, that one behavior after one habit after another habit creates this cybernetics, this mechanism. A book that I read many years ago, it is called Psycho Cybernetics, and it is by Maxwell Maltz. I have the book right here. Check it out. If you have the time, buy it. It's an excellent book. And this book, it helps you, and it is psycho-cybernetics, so that's what I related back to cybernetics model. And according to Maswell, which is a Dr. Miles Maswell, he stated, he actually gave us an example of this mechanism that airplanes have. Just imagine you being the co-pilot of this airplane, right? And this airplane has a specific mechanism that helps you identify whether you're closer to the city or the place where your airplane is going to land. So if the airplane doesn't have this mechanism, you can pretty much be in there and go in circles and circles and circles without you knowing where you're heading to. So cybernetics is about the same thing. It is a mechanism that is going to help you understand or kind of like find the way to restart those behaviors that you might don't want to see. But it's still when you're presenting that behavior, either you or your loved ones, when they're presenting that behavior, that kind of like, hold on, I can change direction. I don't have to behave negatively if I don't have to, because I do have the power. So identifying that mechanism is definitely going to help you. Another model that I would like to talk is the attachment theory. And I'm not even sure if this was listed, but I really feel connected with this attachment theory, and I have applied it with other clients doing the behavioral analysis and the life coaching. And according to this theory, it was first originally developed by John Bowley in the 80s. This theory has emerged as a leading tool for describing the deeper roots of close relationships. What it states is that it is impossible for us to work with couples without even, well, it is possible, but it makes our job easier if we identify what kind of attachment do they present. As we see people who is highly attached or who have attachments disorders or detachments dependency, we might see that this kind of personality have the tendency to be in a relationship even if it is a toxic relationship, even when it is a toxic relationship, because they are so attached to the relationship, it's very difficult for them to break this pattern. And we can see that in the book For Family Therapy, Concepts and Methods by Michael Nichols and Davis. Something else that I would like to share, I have something here. So the child who has secure attachment experience will develop a sense of basis of security and will not be subject to moderate fears of being helpless. Sorry for my accent, hope you understand. But what we can see is that children who have attachment behavior, we can see that they have the tendency to be more insecure and have higher levels of anxiety. And I can see that with myself, but I think I have detachment. According to what I have heard, after I was born, 2 months later, my mom became 1 month, 40 days later, my mom became pregnant, which that created some sort of reaction towards me. She didn't longer wanted to hold me, so I spent a lot of my time on the crib, or maybe even being helped by my older sisters. But I do remember also that how that affected my personality. I like to be alone. I enjoy being alone in my own, and that kind of seems to be like my perfect state of mind. And yeah, I am insecure. I'm working on that. I'm working on becoming more secure, but I can see that how that had affected my, my confidence. Another model that I would like to talk about is the constructivism, and it is created. Piaget argues that people produces acknowledge a form of meaning based upon their experience. For example, he studied that this study was conducted on the 80s, and this we can see that according to them, they kind of created, come up with the study, and according to this, they were able to identify that the brain function was never really known, or kind of like whatever you have in your mind, even memories of experience of those memories that you do have, are mainly based on your own beliefs and your own values and your own experiences. Whatever emotions you experienced in the past are going to be creating a new experience. So, what we can see within the constructivism, um, it is that these images that you have in your mind doesn't necessarily mean it is 100% true. Something that I heard about Dr. Joe Dispenza. How do you know about Dr. Joe Dispenza? He mentioned in one of his studies that and this was because he was trying to help adults forgive their parents. As we can see, many adults are unable to forgive their parents because they were mistreated or because they were traumatized somehow. So, according to Dr. Joe Dispenza, he stated that according to this studies, which I don't have the data with me right now, is that um, 80 70% of what I remember from the past is not true. Only 30%. And it can be between 30 to 25%. The rest is not true. It is only created by my imagination. It could be also created by my emotions that I experienced back then. So check it out. And I do have an example that I would like to share here. Okay, nothing is filtered. Everything is filtered through the see. Everything is filtered through the mind of the observer. So, an experience. If we observe an activity out there, let's say we're on the park and we see children's um, having an argument or fighting with each other, I do perceive that situation differently from my husband. My husband might think that they are just playing, that they might be brother, sister, and they'll be fine, or they might not even argue that they're playing, and I might just create a big drama and say like, oh my goodness, something tragic is going to happen to these kids. And it is mainly filtered to the mind of my observer. So filtering, the filters that we're using, it could be very different, but it is, those filters are created by past experiences. And the last one model that I would like to share is the reframing. Reframing is a technique used in therapy to help create different ways of looking at situations, personal relationships, by changing its meaning or relabeling behavior to shift how family member responds. Something that I do have for reframing. Reframing. The first time that I heard about this model or this technique is when I studied neurolinguistic programming by John Bandler, and I do remember he stated that we reprogram ourselves through the words that we tell ourselves. So if I have a client that come to my office and he's feeling very anxious, and I have even also applied that with my daughter when she's like very anxious because she's gonna do a presentation or because she's gonna have a test. I ask her, "Are you sure you're anxious?" And she will be like, "What do you mean?" Yes, I'm feeling anxious, but and then she said, "I'm shaky. I am sweaty. I feel like my heart is um, is I feel heart palpitations. I feel like I'm gonna pass out." And I'm like, "Okay, hold on. Are you sure it is anxiety? That are you sure? How do you know it is anxiety? Because I believe it is excitement." And she'll be like, "Excitement? No, I'm feeling anxious." "No, you're feeling excited." And she will be like, "Huh, you're right. I am excited. I'm excited because I study. I am excited because I know that I'm going to do well." That alone gives her a peace of mind or gives people a peace of mind. Even myself, I tell that to myself when I'm feeling anxious or when I'm feeling scared. Then I change, I reframe the story. So, because that story that I'm telling myself is disempowering, I do create a new story that is more empowering and is going to help me overcome those fears. And that's how, what I can say. That's all I can say about the models that I'm using. Other than that, well, see you soon during the class.